All right, top of the day. Oscar Talk back at you. It is Sunday, November 9th, 2025 or 2025, whichever way you prefer to say it. um, a little interesting deal went down here on the Walk and Talk today. I kicked it off with a little bit of weather, but for whatever reason, the first portion of the video, the audio recording didn't record my voice, so not sure what happened there. But on the second portion of the video where I do the walk and talk, the actual walking, um, the voice audio seemed like it works. So I'm trying this voiceover deal, and basically I just give you a little rundown of what I was talking about, and it was pretty much just reviewing the weather stats. At the time of the recording, it was about 64 degrees out. It was a warm 64, bright and sunny, with a good air quality index and a rating of 1 on the ultraviolet index. So that sunshine was getting through. And then also, and I'll touch on it a little bit on the next part of this video, is I struck up a little conversation with an older guy that was out there running, and I've seen him. I ran into him in the past, but usually we're both running, and it's just like, hey, what's up? He was out there doing his thing, so he was just wrapping up, and he was telling me he's 79 years old, and he put in. He said 9.5 miles. I mean, or if he said 9.5 miles, about was roughly 5 laps, and it's a little loop that we run. um you know so i'd say that's a that's a nice way to start the day and break a sweat. So he was getting after it. 79 years old, getting after it like that. Not too shabby, not too shabby. So that's kind of how I kicked it off, and some of the things I was talking about there. Okay, so if you're watching along, you can stick around for the actual walk and talk and Oscar talk. Thanks you. All right. Whoop. All right. Oscar talking and Oscar walking. Back at it. Whoa. All right. So we kicked this off with a little weather, and basically what I'm gonna get into is just a recap from the last video I did. In the last video I did, I went back into memory lane from where it all started for me growing up as a little feller, and I'll carry on. I'd like to carry on with that story and kind of just show where I've kind of areas I've grown up in and been around. Obviously, this is one of them. This is where I went to college, and it's a pretty cool little place. A lot of people come out here, walk, run. Just talk to a guy. He's saying he's 79 years old. He just put in 9.5 miles. 9.5 miles. I says, well, I'm walking and talking today, but I'll catch him. I'll catch him maybe next weekend. Be out here and put in my mileage. So just goes to show, man. Pretty cool. All right. So moving along here. So I recapped. Just like I said, last video I did was a little uh, memory, walk down memory lane, and I got a few topics lined out, and I think I'm gonna try to have be more consistent with my talks in terms of what I'm talking about. So what I got here, I've been on this ira kick, man, and I've been researching, and because I'm like, all right, I know I'm older, but I could start some. I got to start somewhere. Start researching some things out, and I figure I'll share along what I researched from what I gather and how this might benefit somebody that's interested in this topic and how they want to set money aside for something down the road. So you got right now the two major types, and the reason why I think these investments are significant is because they offer protections and guarantees for monies that you invest. Okay, it's like cash in the bank. Excuse me. It's like cash in the bank is insured through FDIC coverages for like 250K per person, but those are, so if you just have a pure stock portfolio, that's not necessarily insured. Okay, so that's why I look into these other options. All right, so going with that, and you could dig up more on that too, just in case if that's something that concerns you, and it should. You're out there working, hustling, on the grind. If you're a W-2, or even if you're an independent contractor, you're still earning your monies. So so let's start with the traditional IRA and kind of what it provides. So the big thing on that one for me is, for tax reporting purposes, it provides a dollar for dollar deduction. Okay, so the money going in can reduce your tax liability dollar for dollar up to whatever the amount. And then also, this is going to be depending on your earnings, but if you're in a certain bracket for earnings, that's going to help reduce your taxable earnings. And I think right now the contribution maximum is like 7K if you're under 50, and 8K if you're over 50. That's 7,000 and 8,000 respectively. Now, with that said, that's the biggest standout for me. And then the other component to it is that it does mandate that the money be distributed. You have to take distributions on those monies at a certain age. I want to say it's, I'm not going to guess on that. I'm not going to guess on that. I don't have that one. I don't have that number locked in yet. Okay. After that, we're looking at, because those are the standout. That's the standout stuff on the traditional IRA. On the Roth, now I'll move into the Roth IRA. Again, you got the protections and guarantees of the monies being there for you. So the biggest one on the Roth IRA is the fact that it's usually going to be your contributions are going to already been taxed. So as you develop your investments within that IRA, Roth IRA I should say, the distributions are not taxed when you go to access those monies. And that's a win in my book. Okay. So I mean, that's what I could see coming out of those investment tools. And that's what I have for you on that. Uh, as far as using those tools to invest and save monies for some point down the road. And as far as I know, they're basically structured so that you could choose a fund to put those monies in. And one of the things with funds, if you go into that area of investment, one of the things with funds is, I'm going to say, do you know what stocks are in those funds? Do you know how those funds are invested? Okay. And if you're interested, really check it out, look it up, find out what's the benefit of the fund that your monies are invested in. What stocks make up that fund, and what are you looking at? How are your fund being invested? All right. So check that out. If that's something that interests you, I hope this was helpful. And kind of keeping with that theme, moving along with that theme, because I am interested in this topic, especially when it comes to investing and how, I'm cross right here, and how you could put money to work for you. You know, when you're putting in those long hours and whatever it is, your profession, your work, your job, and you're putting in those long hours, and you want to put that money to work for you. This is some of the tools that are available to us to utilize. So we know that we could have some sort of safety net down the road. Oh, what did I stumble onto here? What? Oh, they're doing their own thing down there. Is that flag? Oh, they're doing some flag football. He's wide open. There it is. Shoot. All right. Flag football. Oh yeah. That's the. I'll share that story. I fractured a finger and got stomped playing flag football. Never got hurt playing tackle football. Okay, so go figure that one. Yeah, I was in a flag football tournament with some guys from work. We were playing up at some spot in San Francisco high school or something. First game, I was going for a flag, and in the process of going for the flag, somehow, because I put myself in front of the guy running with the ball, I go backwards, and his cleat is right in my eye. I'm like, oh, and my, I don't think it was my pinky, my pinky is like getting folded backwards, the opposite direction. I thought I snapped that sucker, but anytime I played tackle ball, whether it was just pick up, friends, you know, even in regular organized, when I got to play like in junior high, I mean that's way back, didn't get hurt. So anyway, just a little side topic right there. Let's see, I keep going. getting back onto the investment topics and the stock thing. So because I'm wanting to get back into this and really kind of see how these things work, um, yeah, I would say if you're invested and that's interesting to you, probably a good move would be to these are publicly traded companies. Therefore, they have certain standards and requirements to report earnings and outlook. They call it forward-looking. So, these guys, they're big companies. They pay big money for people to go in and look at their business and break it down and see how they're gonna maintain, keep things profitable, innovate. All the regulatory items. Anyways, they report on that stuff. So if you're ever inclined, you can attend via internet, web, one of their presentations, and that'll give you an idea of kind of what they're about, how they run their shop. So, and the way I would explain this is, I look at a lot of different kind of content, and there's a group, or there's a I don't know. Okay, there's ideas about the economy that it's just all gonna go, to crap, and why even take the risk, because it is a risk when you're independently selecting investments in stocks and trying to develop a portfolio. It is a risk. Now, you hear that, and then so they're saying there's the economic doomsayers, and then you listen in onto, like, I don't know. I'm gonna take Costco. I'm gonna select Costco because I was listening into their presentation, and the reason why I picked them is because you figure a business like Costco, they don't just operate in the United States. Okay, so they have some exposure internationally, and they're dealing with people, customers coming in and out of their stores on a daily basis, and they have a good grasp of what their clients and customers and whatnot, what they're buying in their stores. And that to me is a significant indication of how the economy is flowing, and Costco pretty much, as far as how they run the shop, I don't think they accept any forms of credit card other than direct debits, cash and checks. So that makes their data a little bit more like a real-time data, because they're not having to wait for payment processing or anything like that. They're getting direct payments. So I'm thinking they have a pretty good pulse on what things are going on economically, and what it was maybe 5 years ago or more that I actually had some stock, and I looked up the historical price, and you can't just judge a company based on the stock price, but I'm just saying, it's almost as if it seems like and I'm not giving complete numbers here, but I think if you do the research and you see where the price was somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago compared to where it is now, it's definitely had a significant upward movement. I'll just put it that way. You got to check it out. So, that's why I try to listen to various or different topics, because now I'm hearing the doomsayer economists versus the business holding economic picture, and it's a business that's dealing with the real economy of people going in and buying what I would consider your consumables, like necessary consumables, you know. Um, and I mean, being where I live, I'm glad to be able to access one of their stores, because I'm able to buy staple foods and products that we just use every day, necessities. And one of the things I'm seeing in their stores is they're offering higher quality foods and products. It's not necessarily the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. So there is a sort of an attractive medium, So, so my point being is, I weigh their examination and presentation a little bit heavier than maybe the folks that are just saying, hey, this economy's in the crapper. You better dig a ditch and just do the best you can. Yeah, I mean, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. It's almost unnecessary. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's kind of a hard top to me. It's a hard topic to speak to the economic doom, because I mean, I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't, but it's like I listen because there's something there, and it kind of balances the scale a little bit, So it would be cause for anybody that's running a Walmart or a Costco or any of these big boxes, and even for the small, even for the farmer market, to just kind of have a pulse on, have a little bit of a read on those things. I mean, even at the farmer level, if you're bringing products to market, and you're in a scenario where people are really just kind of hunkering down and saying, okay, let's focus on the staples, then those might be some of the offerings that you bring to market that you feel are going to be of greater value. And if you ramp up a production and say eggs, now you're in competition. Well, someone's going to be like, well, if I can get a little bit better quality, I might just go visit the farmer's market, and I'm not going to spend too much more. I might spend more. I might even save, but I get the better quality. Now, if you're a big family, you're like, well, Costco's our best bet because I can get, 5 dozen for X dollars. If I go to the farmer's market, that might be double. You might just find a happy balance somewhere, So, oh man, look at this view. Woo! Whoa! Damn, this used to be the football practice field. But they think it's a parking lot now. It's a parking lot. Yeah. Used to be the practice field. What a view. Whoa, let's see. Is that bridge out there in the frame? That would be San Mateo Bridge. And there's another bridge. It's a little hazy. There's the Dumbarton Bridge over there. All right. So, hey, All right, folks. That's what I got for you today in today's Oscar talking and walking. And if you listen along this far, I thank you. And to my 23 subscribers, I thank you. All right. Till the next one, Oscar Talk. I'm out.